I have the questions. The first question is, I have now a job and I like it, but I'm looking for a new job, and I think I have resisted to a new job because I'm thinking about it and I can feel it, the new job, but I would like to get it. So I don't know what to do to release my resistance.
Well, go general about it, because what does a job mean? In other words, when you think about a job, it means responsibility.
Working with people and creating ideas and things.
All wonderful, all in the vortex. What else?
Yeah.
But there's something there. If you were really aligned with the idea, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. So that means there is some resistance there, and the resistance lies in the specifics of what you feel about a job. So as you think about what you feel about a job that sort of feels uncomfortable, and then you go general about it, you can shift your energy about it, or you cannot think about it at all and just let the vortex train you into a higher vibration. But as we feel your vibration in a pretty stable place. So let's play the game the other way. What is it about a job that is uncomfortable to you?
The new job? Or
any job.
Any job.
The word job, the concept job. Does it feel more like opportunity or bondage?
Opportunity.
Does it feel more like opportunity or responsibility?
Opportunity.
Does it feel more like opportunity or required attendance?
No, opportunity.
Does it feel more like freedom or responsibility?
Freedom. Maybe I know something because
you've clearly got subconscious thoughts.
Yeah.
And another myth is reborn. What was the last job you had?
Now I have a job. I am a marketing manager.
And why are you looking for something else?
Because I would like to develop the job that I am now working. That's a wonderful job, but I am sort of stuck. I cannot develop further, so that's why I am looking for a new job.
So does it feel like freedom or stuckness?
Now stuckness, this job.
So, but that's what we're getting at. In other words,
sorry.
So, but it's all right, because you're reaching for something that's different than what you feel.
Yeah.
So now take that feeling of not moving forward. There's not enough place for me to grow. They're not really asking enough of me. I have so much more to give. And standing right where you stand, get general about that. You could say things like, well, it's nice that I'm not getting too invested here because I can feel that there's something way more for me somewhere. It's nice that they're not looking at me with a tremendous amount of responsibility because I can feel that I'm going to fly free and something even more dynamic is waiting for me. You feel the general nature of what we're getting at?
Yeah.
But so that shakes something loose just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have one more question.
Do you describe yourself as a responsible person?
Yes.
Do you ever think about what would happen if you were to leave that place where you are? That job?
Yes.
Do you wonder or worry about what would become of them without you?
Worry. Yeah.
So that's where. So now get general. They got along without me before I was there. They'll get along. There is someone else queued up that's just perfect for that spot, who will be the perfect match for them. You see what we're getting at?
Yeah,
In other words, did you feel a little something shake loose there?
Yeah.
That's what we meant. That feeling of responsibility, as it relates to that feeling of freedom. In other words, we can feel your propensity to be a giving person, and there is a little guilt within you that surfaces when you selfishly please yourself.
Yeah.
So you hold back sometimes from what you really want in order to serve others.
Yeah.
And in the process, you disallow what's in your vortex. And then you cover it up with nice sounding words.
Yeah, that's nice.
So,
Yeah, that's true.
you're doing extremely well, and what's there is really bright. Just decide that you want to feel eager about where you're going and happy about where you've been. Eager about where you're going and satisfied with the way it will unfold. And make general statements such as, I don't have to figure this out. The universe will figure it out. I'll move out. Someone else will move in. Everybody will live happily ever after. It will always work out. I don't have to know all of the details. Those are the general statements that if we were standing in your physical shoes that we would make. And it won't take much of that to shake things loose for you. We can feel that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have one more question. Since a few weeks, I can feel... I have rediscovered that I can heal people, and also that I can talk to people they are re-emerged. So my question is, I can talk to people they are re-emerged, but they come to me just I'm sitting there, they come to me. But I also sometimes want to help other people and just invite someone that re-emerged to talk to me, but I cannot do it. I can only this just comes to me, and then I can talk. But
well, that's the only way that it really works. It's not something that you can conjure, because things have to be aligned for that to happen. And so, again, it's just that general place of well-being that puts you in the place of having that sort of rendezvous with that.
Okay.
Our powerful encouragement for people like you, and more of you are beginning to have these kinds of experiences. Don't push it.
Okay.
Allow it. In other words, no effort. Just let it be. Through the path of least resistance, let it be.
Okay.
Because, as you wisely said, I can't conjure it. It's either there or it's not.
Yeah.
And so when it's there, celebrate it. And when it's not, just relax and know that it comes when it's ready.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've changed my questions a dozen times to figure out the right question. Closed one eye and both eyes to get up here. So thank you. My first question deals with, I was seeing a thread of collective thoughts from my childhood that on some level in the past I've been sort of living my life focused on the collection of thoughts that I thought that's the way I was supposed to based on what I've heard. Now I think I'm changing that. In other words, all the people who've told me you got to do these things in life to live a certain way, and I've done some of that. And I'm changing that. But the question is, when we incarnate from one life to the other life, do we do that as a result of where we left off in our last life?
Never. Not one time ever. Think of the reemergence in a non-physical as the clearinghouse of everything, except what's in the vortex.
So do we...
Did you follow that? In other words, when you reemerge into non-physical, you leave behind all doubt and fear and struggle and anything that was resistant in nature, because it cannot abide in the vibration of that non-physical beingness that is you. You just don't drag that stuff from lifetime to lifetime. Those are flawed premises that are promoted by people who can't get what they want and are looking for excuses to explain why it's not going better.
Okay. So when we come in at a new incarnation, do we come in at what level? In other words, what do we bring in with this? If we don't bring it in from our past life, where do we come in?
Well, we didn't say you what you bring in is the clarity that is you and the eagerness to explore the new frontier for the purpose of taking thought into new places.
Is there a degree of clarity that we get in a lifetime that the next lifetime the clarity is greater because of it?
Well, let's ask that question in a different way. Abraham, does my vortex expand as I live lives? Yes. And as my vortex expands, do I stand in a non-physical place of greater expansion? Yes. That's why we're saying to you that non-physical is expanding as a result of the contrast that you all are living. So, of course, that expansion is taking place. And, of course, you bring that expanded beingness forth into the physical experience.
Then
it's a little bit like the things that you want to know when you are 5 years old build a basis for the things that you want to know when you're 55 years old. In other words, everything adds to everything. But we just want to point you in the direction of this vortex, which is the holder of all expansion, and help you to realize that you can come into alignment with that expansion at any time and reap the benefit of all of that.
So what's a young soul versus an old soul?
There isn't any of that. That's another thing that man makes up to explain why things aren't going better.
So every soul that comes in is at the same level, essentially.
Because level isn't something that non-physical ever says. At a place of expandedness, leading edge place of enthusiastic motion forward. The levels are assigned by man who's out of the vortex.
So truly, I mean, we're just here to experience
for the joyous
for whatever being
experience of creating. For the joyous experience of creating. Not to fix things that are broken, not to compete with one another, for the joyous co-creative excursion into more.
Does the people, the division between those who have and those who have not, let's say in
have
terms,
what?
Let's say fund money. Let's say are the people who have money
Well, let's not say money. Let's say alignment. Because the only haves and have-nots that are really worth talking about are the have alignment and don't have alignment. Because when you have alignment, then you have anything else that you ask for. And there are a lot of people who are not asking for money, believe it or not. There are people on this planet who seek alignment over money.
I understand that completely, and I do too. However, do people who have money, are they more in alignment than those who don't?
They're more in alignment with money.
Okay. Who thought the first thought?
You did. But you see what you're doing with that question? Instead of celebrating, all your other questions helped us point toward this culmination of source, which is who we all are and why we all live and why we keep coming back into the experiences for the expansion forward. But the question, who thought the first thought? Looking in exactly the opposite direction of all of that. And that's why it's so confounding. So we can give it to you theoretically. In other words, of course there was a beginning thought, but who wants to go back there when there's been all this living and all this lifing and all this expanding and all this becoming and all this being? Why would anyone want to experience retrograde of anything?
Are we in our incarnations, are we continually going to incarnate? Or is there a point when, they talk about ascended masters. What is an ascended master?
Well, that's like saying, that's something that man makes up to compare himself, if he feels ascended, to others who he doesn't think are.
There's a lot of stuff that man makes up to live in this life.
Man has been a very compensating being for quite a long time, and it's all right. Whatever makes you feel better is all right. But what was your question about ascended masters?
Well, I was saying it had to do with, it had to do again with levels. Ascended masters, if they exist, and you said they didn't. So,
well, the most important thing to realize is that everyone is.
Oh, it had to do with how do we continually incarnate, or do we reach a point where we don't incarnate anymore?
Well, that question is like this question. Abraham, I am so enjoying the fullness and the fantasticness of my life. Will I ever stop doing that? In other words, that's really what that's saying, because there are those who say you'll get so evolved that this piddly, crummy earth will no longer serve you and you'll be more ascended. And we say, where do you get this stuff? Don't you understand that this physical time-space reality is the leading edge, where you, in your leading edge gathering, get to rendezvous with the energy that creates worlds for the manifestation of the idea? Isn't it a delicious thing to understand that a thought can translate into vivid reality? And don't you want that? And why would you ever stop wanting that? You would only stop wanting that if your vivid reality is not going well. And that's why we say it's only those who are focused outside the vortex that ever conjure that there will be an end to this.
So with that,
From inside the vortex, you never make such a statement because you know better.
So with that, in life, every human being could be anything they want to, whether it's sitting around reading books for an eternity or managing major companies, and if they're in the vortex, there is no difference.
And from non-physical perspective, one is not seen as a higher occupation than another. Good times